Welcome to our Cappers Contest show right here on Pub Sports Radio. Thank you guys so much for joining us. We had a good week last week. I was impressed. I did not think we were 3-1-1. Jose is grabbing our overall record right now, but it was a good week, and it's the second half of the season, and we're in the black. And if we get hot, there's no stopping us. Who knows? Who knows how much money we could make? There's a couple things we need to talk about, though, about our Pub Sports Radio Cappers Contest, not the Circa Millions, but ours. It came to our attention that an employee, one of the cappers at Pub Sports, got his picks in after the deadline. I had no idea that any of this was going on, and as soon as we found out, we immediately took their picks off of the board. So from now on, if anything, if there's any kind of issue at all with your picks or anything, you have to email pubsportsradio@gmail.com. Have to email pubsportsradio@gmail.com. There was also a lot of issues, or a lot of people talking about how our leader, Jose Bouquet, my co-host on this show, changed the picks that he made from the Thursday show here on Cappers Contest. He changed them Friday night. There's no rule against changing your picks, and Jose's going to talk about that. He has no way of changing his picks after the deadline. There's only one person who can do that, and that is Sean, who runs all our online stuff. He's the only one. And, I know that Jose would never do anything to hurt the integrity of our contest. And it's probably, people are watching him succeed. But he did give out picks in the here and then change them. And that upset some people. Jose, do you want to touch on that?
Sure, yeah. I can even tell you guys the picks I changed. I did the mathematics. If I didn't change them, I actually would have fared better. I went from I went from the Panthers to my Jets, which I guess, is the most egregious since I got the win to the loss there. Tampa Bay to the Las Vegas Raiders. Someone was telling me about the Raiders all week. I won't say who, but I changed my pick to that one. And then I went from, let me double check. Sorry, Washington to Atlanta. So I went from two pushes there. So a little unfortunate for me, but yeah, sorry, I won't give out the picks and change them. I apologize if I bothered you because of that, but that's the shit that happens, I guess.
Yeah, it's all, there's no rule about changing picks here, but if anybody has a problem with anything in the contest, just email pubsportsradio@gmail. Don't go through any of your friends that work here. Email so that it goes right to Sean. And we go from there. We go to our 3-1-1 week in the Circa Millions. Do you know where we stand now overall?
Yes. We are now 24-19-2.
It's not so bad.
Not bad. A lot of people thought we would go under 500. But no, we're 24-19-2, tied for 1,213th. So not the best, but we're still above 500, and it feels like we are just a week away from getting that 5-0 that we've been cherishing so deeply, by the way.
Yeah, all we need is a 5-0 week. We need, or we string together a few 4-1s, but 24-19-2, we can roll. So I'm excited. I'm excited to be here with you guys. Thank you guys so much for joining us here. I was very impressed that we went 3-1-1. I was nervous about our action.
But you always are, though.
Our group here is doing better than I am in the Cappers Contest. So I'm not 24-19-2. I'm having an excellent year.
We should bring up those standings, huh?
We should bring up standings. I went 1-2 on the sides that I bet, but 4-0 on my totals. But yes, let's bring up where we stand. Yeah, I'd like a totals contest. Let's see where we stand right now in the Cappers Contest. Why don't you walk us through it, Jose?
Well, I have taken a 2-game lead. I have math skills in my head. 2-game lead over Drug Monkey RX, C. Brady Bobano down there. DG complains a lot, but look at him. Look at him there. Oh, my God. DG coming for us. Trance, all you guys down there at the 25s, 26s, 25 and a half. Little low shack. No 5-0 weeks this week, but that wily son of a bitch, the big Ragu, another 4-0 week. He's coming. Brooklyn Front Projects 4-0. Drunk Marky RX 4-0. I went 3.5 there, but it is good for the lead right now. Mama Bag, shout out to her as well. 20.
That was her first bad week of the year.
Where'd she go? Let's find her.
She got 1-4.
Oh, no, just the Seahawks. First bad week of the week. Oh, my goodness. But she's still above a lot of respected cappers like our friend Diehard MMA and Big Show. So you guys got to work for it. And there's our friend Jimmy the Bag, 22, 20, and 3.
Ugly. But if I can get hot, I can get in there. Top 7 get paid. I can get to the top 7. I see the top 7 in my future.
Top 7 get paid. See, I didn't even know that. Top 7 get paid. So, wow. Hey, I might walk away with some money, huh? I didn't even realize that.
We'll see. We'll see if you can handle the pressure.
But we will say this. Let's not forget about the Survivor contest still going on. We did have one loser. And I think he's in here right now. Billy Friedrich, I believe he's mentioned it. He lost his eliminator pick. He went against the mighty New York Jets. The Buffalo Bills cost him there. So only 3 people left. Uncle Jay, Mr. Vape, Rabbit Den. Beely almost won it. This close from winning the Survivor pool. But shout out to you for running it back, my man, because it's major balls on you.
Yeah. You could have just split up that cash 4 ways. You went for the big score. We're all gamblers here. We respect it. Let's attack to this week's card here. I'm very interested to see the decisions that will be made. Let me pull everything up so I am ready to rock, and I am ready to rock. Let's go. We start with the Thursday nighter, Jose. The votes will be coming up, and you can vote on them, and they will be available to be voted on for 3 minutes. We start with the Atlanta Falcons and Carolina Panthers is where we open up. Let's see what they have for us here. Let me pull up. They have given us a 2.5. Falcons minus 2.5. Now, this did hit 3 at one point. Let's go over to the line history quickly. This was at 3 for, let's see how long. Quite a while. It went to 3 on Monday at 7:16 p.m. And it stayed at 3 until basically Wednesday at 5 p.m. And now it's at 2.5. Let's go over to where the sharp action is. We have 84,673 tickets in. Sports Insights at this point, Sports Insights has given one team full line value. That team is the Carolina Panthers. 35% of tickets, 68% of cash on the Panthers. The sharps are all over the Panthers, and I commend them. I commend them for having the big old balls to be able to bet on the Panthers. They're coming off just a horrific 42-21 loss at Cincinnati. They were down 35-0 at the half. PJ Walker was terrible. He is starting. They did not move to Baker Mayfield, who did look decent, 14-20 for 155 yards, 2 touchdowns. I mean, it was garbage time. The Panthers rushed for just 64 yards as a team. They rushed for 173 against the Bucs, 169 in their next game. And then here, 64. Strange. They lose Brian Burns to an injury. The thing that makes me the most nervous, now I haven't bet on this game, is the Panthers ranked 24th in opponent yards per carry. So they allow an average of 4.9 yards per rush. And that's what the Falcons, excuse me, that was bad. The Falcons do best. They're 12th in the NFL in yards per carry at 4.8. Now it's raining tonight. And I thought the Falcons game against the Chargers was pretty ugly. They didn't look very good, and they didn't look good defensively. And they allowed the Chargers, who were missing their best 2 wide receivers, to go 8 for 16 on third down. But the Falcons are hitting 45% on third down themselves. That's the 6th best in the league. And we're supposed to expect that the Panthers will just stop that? I don't know. Take it away. Jose, what do you think here?
Well, I've been a big Falcons supporter all year. I need one more win to cash their team total for the season over, win total over. That would be awesome. But I'll tell you, it's a bit of a hurricane over there in Carolina right now. There's like some tropical storm going on over there, and it's going to be a run the ball fest. I can guarantee you that. And it ultimately is going to come down to who can run the ball better. And we know that that's what the Falcons like to do with Marcus Mariota and the gang. Now, I am going to be worried about Foreman. Foreman is a large human being, very Derrick Henry-esque, just not without the size, I guess, not even that big, but he's still a large human, and he's going to be tough to tackle. So it's going to be very interesting. So I don't, all the passing numbers under, but I think Foreman and those guys have a good day. So I'm passing on this game personally. I'd lean towards the Falcons, but sharp going against the sharp money is not a good ideal thing. And in NFL this year, it seems like it's just bet on the opposite of what happened last week. Whatever, biases, as we love to say on this program, you have from last week, just bet against them and you'll be kind of successful. So I ultimately pass on this game, and I'll be interested to see how it goes.
I just pray that it doesn't say Atlanta on our card, but I don't want it to say Carolina. I'm not going to vote there just in case there's people who are trusting the sharp money. This makes me very nervous.
Okay. Well, let's finish the poll now. It's a low number. Our low number because our first poll is get the people in here voting, but 52% on the Atlanta Falcons. So nothing to worry about there on Thursday night action.
I love it. I'm very happy with this. Very, very pleased that this is not going to make our card. I didn't vote either, New Corker. It's okay. I'm very, very excited.
Poll, yeah, just everyone get in here, get the votes in. Let's start rocking and rolling.
Gerald Jones saying the Circa leaders at 33.5, and we are at 25.5. Right? 24-19, or are we 24-19-2?
Yeah, 24-19-2.
So we're 25. 8.5 back. I'm really pleased with the way we've gone. So
yeah,
I'm happy this Thursday night
game. Over 500 in week 10 by week 10. Come on.
Yeah, no, I like it. Chris Rock says, I'll say this, Panthers record is bad, but against the spread is good, and the division matchups with that OT, they would be 3-0 in the division. All right, no, I'm really happy that didn't make our card. This game makes me nervous. So let's move over to Allianz Arena in Munich, Germany for the Seahawks Buccaneers. See what we are dealing with here. We have the Seahawks at +3. Seahawks at +3. Let's talk about the line history and where the cash is at for this one. This one opened up with the Seahawks +1. They're +2.5 at Pinnacle. So if they're at +3 in this contest, it tells me the books are looking for Seahawks money. And that surprises me because we've been getting so much of it. That surprises me. Circus hanging a 3.
I was also surprised because I bet a 2.5 yesterday.
We have the Sharps on the Brady's. What's wrong here?
That's what they are. No. Go ahead. They're the Tampa Bay Brady's.
Sharps are on the Bucks. 33% of the tickets, 53% of the cash. And, that's a small sample size. We only have 16,152 tickets in. The only sample size we have a ton of tickets in is for the Thursday nighter. I am surprised. I mean, clearly they're asking for money on the Seahawks now. And I don't want to fall for that trap. What is it at Bet 365? It's at 2.5, but that 2.5 is -120 on the Bucks. Look, what can you say about the Seahawks? They just keep playing spectacular football. That's surprising all of us. Geno Smith, he could be MVP this year. I can't even what he did after throwing the pick 6, those 3 touchdown drives at 75, 81, and 85 were spectacular. The way Tyler Lockett takes contact, inspires everyone. The way Kenneth Walker's running the ball. The Seahawks were 10 of 15 on third down. They forced 16 fumbles to lead the NFL. Their run defense is the worst, 27th worst in the NFL, but can the Bucs take advantage of that? The real question is, can these Buccaneers take momentum off of that final drive when the Rams were in a prevent defense? Brady averaged 4.8 yards per attempt in that football game, and that's including the 5-for-6 drive that lasted, 35 seconds to close out the game. I do not want to go up against the Sharps. Clearly, Carlton Davis, Sean Murphy Bunting returned after missing the loss in Baltimore. They're still waiting on Antoine Winfield, but I don't want us to fall in the trap and take Seattle +3 when that's clearly what the books are begging us to do.
I'm going to fall into that trap. I don't know. You've been right about these instances a lot. And another factor I was thinking about, it's that in Germany, who are they going to ask to do media all the time in that week? Tom Brady is going to get swarmed in Germany. It's going to be like MJ going to Paris for the dream team shit. I think it's going to be pretty tough. And all those factors were like, just give me Seattle. I thought they were a better team, better coach to begin with. And now all that money is scaring me. So,
well, do you think Brady handles it really poorly in Super Bowl week?
No, I mean, obviously he's done it there several hundreds of times, but maybe you got that salacious media asking him about his divorce. Who knows? He's actually on a lower note this year than he is on the Super Bowls. At least on the Super Bowls, they're just give him a circle jerk and tell him how great he is. Maybe here they'll be like, hey, Tom, you won a game for once. Thank God, but your team sucks. I don't know. Ultimately, I like the Seahawks here, but that sharp money is keeping me off of it, and it's just concerning and worrisome. But I might end up be caving and taking Seattle by the end of the week, but I'd definitely lean there. For
Coin's asking, he says, does Seattle feel like a public dog? It doesn't feel like it. They are a public dog.
And that's why I would be concerned betting them, yeah.
Well, I'm not going to vote on it because I don't want to have my greasy paws involved in this one. I don't know what to say. This game is tricky, and obviously they want to bet the Seahawks. What did we decide?
No worries there, Jimmy. A 50-50 split there in the Allianz Arena. Fun fact, Bayern Munich plays there. Shout out to Sadio Mane. Hope you get better soon so you can play in the World Cup, but you aren't. So
I love it. I love what we've done so far. I know we don't have as big numbers as we usually do in here at this point, but I love what we've decided as a group so far, and that's to not use either of those first two games. I love it. Let's move on. Minnesota Vikings, Buffalo Bills, Highmark Stadium in Orchard Park, New York. And we have a 3.5 spread. We all know what that means, and that means that Josh Allen won't be under center for the Buffalo Bills.
That's wild.
Things have changed quickly, and those that bet Josh Allen to win MVP are very upset. And it's too bad that's worked out this way. Let's take a look at what's gone on with this 3.5 anyway. So it moved to 3.5. Oh, Pinnacle didn't open it until they knew it was 3.5. Since Pinnacle opened it, there's been a 7-cent move towards the Minnesota Vikings. I think we could see a 3 in this game at some point.
I think it will go down lower than that.
Well, I'm going to wait, and take the Bills. I do need Matt Milano confirmed back. That was one of the things that happened with the Bills last week is Tre'Davious White finally came off the IR and was not activated. Or I guess it was the what's it called? What the hell's wrong with me? Not the IR, but the other one. He was finally activated from. Oh no, it was IR. Sorry, jeez, I should shut up.
We're thinking IL.
Yeah, he was inactive. So I need Tre'Davious White back. I need Matt Milano back. It's okay if Jordan Poyer isn't back this week, but I need those two back because they did lose Greg Rousseau, defensive end. So their defense keeps getting tagged here. I do believe they're going to show adversity. I do believe that the 3.5 is tricky. They could win this game by 3, and all the Vikings cashers could say, I told you so. Let's take a look at where the cash lies here, and it'll be a little, there's 13,063 tickets in. 66% of tickets, 86% of cash is on the Vikings. So Birdie says, what a deal on Buffalo. Now, I think we could get an even bigger deal. Even bigger deal. Let's just make sure that we get the sprained right elbow, status in doubt. I mean, has anyone confirmed? I mean, the market's telling us he won't be there. Says we'll see even this. Oh, no, that was yesterday.
Case Keenum really going to be a favorite? I was shocked by that. I don't think Case Keenum should be a favorite. I was maybe thinking that he plays, but he's just hampered and he doesn't throw his whatever, and his arm's not all the way there, and that's why the line's 3.5. I think that if he doesn't play, I think the Vikings should be favored, truthfully. And then I think the Vikings win outright if he does not play, and it is Case. So that is tough to see and to vote on so early. And that's why, for Capper's competence purposes, you can wait in that last moment on Saturday night and see if he's going to play or not, because that number locks at 3.5. But it is just so brutal, honestly.
Let's just quickly, before all the votes are in here,
Yeah.
you have this Vikings team 6-1. They lose Cameron Dantzler to their secondary. That's been terrible. They're dead last in opponents' red zone touchdown percentage, 78.95%. They allow 7.4 yards per pass. That's the third highest in the NFL. And now they lose Dantzler and bring in a fourth rounder at Caleb Evans. I'm going to wait, man. If this gets to 3, I move on the Bills. If it moves to 2.5, I move on the Bills again.
I wouldn't be surprised at all if it was like a 1.5 by game time. I'll be honest, but that is just maybe the market respects Case Keenum more than I do. But it's been a while since we've seen Case Keenum play, and we can mention it. Obviously, this is his former team, Minnesota Miracle, et cetera, et cetera. Stephon Diggs on the team, his former team, Justin Jefferson versus Diggs, the trade, that whole storyline baked into this as well. So this would be a great matchup. This will be a great matchup. And guess what, Jim? We're split down the middle right again here. Another end the poll here to make sure a 52-47 for the Buffalo Bills there.
I love that.
So
I love everything we've done as a group. This is fun. Like let's find the spots that we know that we're confident in, we can attack. I want the Bills in this game though badly, and I'm going to wait. Be very patient. Let's move on to Detroit Lions, Chicago Bears, Soldier Field in Chicago, Illinois. Start with the Lion history here and talk about what we are dealing with. We're dealing with a 3. Bears are 3-point favorites in this one. When we go to the Lion history over at Pinnacle, we see that there's no 3 and that the late money has come in on Detroit. And I'm a little shocked that they offered us a 3. This opened up at 2, went to 2.5, then it went down to 1. And the Lions were getting big bets on them. And when we go over to the cash flow here, we have 12,836 tickets in. Wow, God, I didn't realize this. It's just been money pouring in on Chicago. 80% of the tickets and 91% of the cash on the Bears. Really? That much money on the Bears. The Lions snapped their 5-game losing streak with the big 59 win at home over Green Bay. DeAndre Swift is getting healthier. He still doesn't look 100%. Amon-Ra St. Brown starting to improve. This offensive line is really good. I mean, Goff, with not much mobility, has only been sacked 13 times. 5 of them came against the Cowboys. So I don't know why people believe in the Bears this much. I mean, they look good at home against the Dolphins. I guess they look good. I don't know. Their defense is absolutely pitiful. I mean, the Dolphins average 7.2 yards per play. I'm very interested. What do you think of this spot here?
It's tough. The Justin Fields love is rampant right now. And as someone that is in 2 high-stakes fantasy leagues, and I have him in a fantasy league now, I would love for him to perform here. But honestly, my first lean was to the Lions too. And we in this chat have loved the Lions in the past weeks. They've made us money some week. They've costed us in others. But the thing is, can we expect them to replicate that offensive performance or their defensive performance? Excuse me. I don't. Personally, I think the Bears have probably a better offense than the Packers right now. Better quarterback at least right now. So it's a tough game. These first couple of games have all been very tough. They're kind of the marquee matchups of the week. And, maybe we can't find an edge on the marquee matchups right now. Maybe we have to go digging into the bum fights a little bit, which, I know you're not opposed to. If I'm making a bet here, I'm putting my money on the underdog. I'm taking the Lions. But it's dicey. It's dicey. That defense for the Chicago Bears is not good. So I like the over here, obviously, as well. But, yeah, I leaning towards the Lions. We'll see if I get there.
The 3 is now at Bet365. It's minus 120 on the Lions, even money on the Bears. Yeah, I mean, look, the Bears scored 94 points last 3 weeks, but this one's wild. I haven't made a vote on today's card so far. It's supposed to be a thing where you guys, make the decisions here and completely without my greasy fingers. Sometimes I do make a move, but at 3, we want the Bears here to I don't know. Coin says Chicago's figured out on offense finally. Both stop units stink though. Chris Rock says Fields improving week after week. New Cooker says people love what they saw last week with the Bears.
Yeah, and by the way, Jimmy, I know we've talked about the weather quite frequently. Is it going to be frigid in Chicago?
No. Well, it's going to be colder. I mean, this is our first weekend of cold weather.
Because Birdie mentioned cold and Goff does not fair weather. Yeah, every time I see Jared Goff in the cold, he's just garbage, just horrible. So it's a factor.
The weather changes quickly. It's 74 Fahrenheit in Chicago right now. On Sunday for game time, it is 37 Fahrenheit, but no wind or 9 miles an hour.
Ooh, that's cold right there. That's cold to my Venezuelan ass. So I know Jared's going to be freezing too. I lean to the Lions, but it's a tough call. It's a super tough call.
Well, let's see what the decision was made.
Another close one here, 52% on the Chicago Bears.
I love it. I love everything that's happened so far. These are really tricky games. I like that we're on either this. I love it. I think everything is going perfect. I'm very pleased. Let's move on to Broncos Titans. Nissan Stadium in Nashville, Tennessee. Broncos 2.5-point dogs. Not for me. Got them at 3, baby. Coming in fresh off their bye week. I'm filled with confidence. But the 3 was a big deal. Obviously, the 3 was a big deal. Right now, at Pinnacle, it's 2.5. And it is a pick'em, a complete pick'em. But at midnight, it was juiced towards the Broncos at 2.5. So let's see. Obviously, if I bet this, it means the Sharps are all over Denver, but not anymore. I guess not at 2.5. Wow. So right now, 43% of the tickets, 47% of the cash is on Tennessee. So a ton of change in the 42 hours since we did our show on Tuesday. Back then, the Sharps were all over Denver, but it was at 3. Very, very interesting here. I think that I don't know what – I'm very curious to see what happens with the Buccaneers offense after that big drive. And I expect the Broncos, after Russell Wilson looked healthy, went 18 for 30 for 252 yards and a touchdown and a pick. Don't forget, they didn't get their first down until halfway through the second quarter. They were still just 211 for third down, but I think they're going to improve. Also, Lloyd Cushenberry is going to be out with a groin injury, so Graham Glasgow is moving over to center. And Pro Football Focus gives Cushenberry horrific low grades. He's been terrible this year. So can Glasgow and Russell Wilson develop some confidence together. They're coming in off the bye week. You got Randy Gregory, Baron Browning, Cam Fleming all returning to practice. It's still unclear if they'll be in the lineup. And the Titans just went through war. They went through absolute war. And I think their defense was on the field for so long. And I'm impressed with this Titans team. I'm very curious to see what happens if this makes our card. And I get at 2.5. I don't know if I pulled the trigger on this. At 3, it was, yes, let's bet. What do you think here, Jose?
Does it matter to you which quarterback's in?
Very much. I would prefer Malik Willis in, but I'm not scared if Tannehill's in by any matter of the imagination. I mean, we know that he's hurting. He hasn't been able to plant his leg for a throw yet. And so, I mean, if he comes in, he's not going to be 100%. He's not going to be able to leave the pocket. He's not going to be able to scramble. So, but I would prefer Malik Willis in because I know Malik Willis has difficulty. 5 of 16 for 80 yards.
Yeah, no, it was rough. It was super rough. I remember watching the last couple of throws and just him dropping back and him just holding on to the football and just continuing to hold on and getting sacked 3 straight downs or whatever it was. No, it's horrific. And the Titans offense, or receivers, I should say, are absolutely horrible. So truthfully, I like Denver too. At what point are we going to see Russell Wilson come back from just being the worst quarterback in the league? Like, he has been horrible, and we've had a whole week to prepare, a week to get healthy. He had his, allegedly separated strained shoulder, whatever the fuck happened to him there. I like the Titans too, and obviously they have missing pieces like Bradley Chubb, a huge piece of that defensive line, not there. But it's the obviously the Derrick Henry factor is the concerning. Like, who's gonna be a big body on that Denver Broncos defense to help stop him? And I'll be interested to see how that goes. But I'm sure by now everyone's got a picture of Malik Willis as well, and everyone says just stop Tractor Cito, and we can win this game pretty easily. So I like the Denver Broncos as well, and I wouldn't be surprised at all if they made my card as well. I like the 2.5.
Well, I just had to vote on it, and I am astonished at what I see.
Well, let's end the poll now because we're at 4 minutes, and Jimmy's astonishment continues because we are now probably going to be on the Tennessee Vikings, the Tennessee Titans. 63% of the vote on the Tennessee Titans.
Well, last week, before we put up the next game up, last week we went against me on. Oh, sorry, it's on the Sunday card. I went head to head with the chat, and you guys beat me. You guys beat me. So here, let's just go over it again. Last week we went head to head on. Sorry, move up here quickly. We went head to head on. You guys were on the Jaguars. You guys were on. You guys were right. You went against me with the Patriots. Colts was probably my worst bet of the year. So, you went against me with the Vikings, which was a push, but I bet the 3.5. So you guys have had a lot of success against me. So,
that gives me pause. So
awful stuff. Okay. All right, let's move on to the next stuff. Oh God, I gotta shake this off. Let's move on to the next game on the board here. Jacksonville Jaguars 3-6, 1-3 on the road to the Kansas City Chiefs 6-2, 3-1. I even voted. I even got scared for a second. I was like, wait a minute. There's no concern the Titans are going to be on a card, is there? Leo said it's going to be on the Broncos money line. Ugh. Birdie says not like the Titans have a big rotation on defense. Those guys played. How are they going to be able to compete in this? Oh God, that was war. Now you're going to war without Bud Dupree. Oh man. All right. Arrowhead Stadium in Kansas City, Missouri. We're dealing with a 9.5. I said if this got to 10, 10.5, 100%, I'd bet the Jaguars. And this will get to 10. The question is now, after saying that, you have to actually bet it. This will get to 10. I believe it will get to 10. It's at 9.5 right now. They're showing a 10 at Pinnacle, but that's plus 109 for the minus 10 on Kansas City. We go over to the cash. I probably shouldn't bet this. I should probably just leave it as a lean because you have just 7,792. Oh, actually, it's changing. Oh, here we go. 26% of the tickets on Jacksonville and 30% of cash. I just don't see why KC is going to get up so much for this. And I talked quite a bit about that interception that Trevor Lawrence threw on the goal line in the UK. I feel like something connected with the mistake he made. And he was really good. He was the best I've ever seen him in the NFL. 25 of 31, 235 yards, 1 touchdown, no interceptions, ran 6 times for 53 yards. They were way back, down 17-0. He orchestrated the second biggest comeback in franchise history. And I like Kirk and Jones on the outside. Travis Etienne is a monster right now. And why the Chiefs just came over a hugely difficult game where they dominated statistically but didn't pull off the victory. They play against a lowly team that, are they really going to be that up for this game? I don't know. What do you think here?
I love taking the big spreads. I think that the big spreads this year have been pretty successful for me. I took both of them last week. Jets, Titans, both cash very easily. I wouldn't be surprised at all if I was on the Jacksonville Jaguars here. It's funny, both of those quarterbacks seem to have breakthroughs last week. Trevor Lawrence had his breakthrough, and a certain Mormon we'll talk about later also seemed to have, we won't talk about that. We'll talk about next week. But Zach Wilson also played well. The Jets beat the Bills. I was on a money line. I like the Jaguars here. I don't know if I'm going to bet them as well. The betting against the Chiefs is always a kind of a dicey proposition. And, I mean, honestly, 50.5 seems pretty high, too. So, under here as well. I think this will be a closer game, But the issue is, like, I could see it being like a 10-point Chiefs win. So the 9.5 is just kind of brutal. I was more hoping this would be like a 13-14, whatever that may be. But ultimately, I think this is a tough game, and ultimately, I'll pass.
Well, I just voted on Jacksonville. I do not want Kansas City to be on our card here. I don't see why they're going to dominate this team. It just doesn't feel like the spot where they step up against the best teams. You know, when they have to prove a point, there's no point to prove here. Look at Birdie. Birdie's even on Jags' money line. He says small play, but analytics have these teams even. This number is just too high. Metrics say this is a coin flip. Hard to look past that.
Yeah, well, 3 minutes are up, and I'll say a 51% on the Kansas City Chiefs.
Whoa, they flexed this to Sunday night football? No. They didn't. Not this one.
This
is not being flexed to Sunday night football coin.
I think he's talking about KC Chargers next week.
Oh, yeah. That's being flexed. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
All right. Okay. Next week. Okay. Sorry, guys. Of course, nobody wants to see the Jags on Sunday night.
Let's say Trevor Lawrence's hair is getting that much engagement on Twitter. Are you kidding me?
Okay, let's move on to the next spot on the board. I'm happy that's not on our card. God, I'm so euphoric when these games don't make our card, you know?
Well, let's find one that does make our card.
And one that I'm on too, so I can really fucking cheer. Cleveland Browns, Miami Dolphins, Hard Rock Stadium in Miami Gardens, Florida. Browns coming in off their bye week. We last saw them look very good at home, though. At home in a 32-13 win over the Bengals. And Myles Garrett was clearly the best defender in the league when we saw him last. God, he was. But if you look at his stats, he's a 93.7 pass rushing grade, by far first in the league. 41 pressures, by far first in the league.
Well, Jim, let's also remember he should be in prison for assault with a deadly weapon for what he did to my guy Mason Rudolph. Let's not forget that.
Oh, he would have been long out, man. Come on. Assault with a weapon. The guy wouldn't have spent 10 minutes in. He would have apologized, paid a fine, picked up some garbage on the highway, and fuck off. Trust me.
True.
Trust me. I also was
shout out to Mikal Bridges as well. No shout out to Mikal Bridges. But.
All right, let's go over the line history here. Now, I bet the Browns. I went ahead and bet the Browns plus 3.5. At Pinnacle, it's still a 3.5, although it was a 4. It did get to 4, which makes me nervous. No, it opened at 4.5, but money came flying in on the Browns, and I guess maybe I could have waited. Maybe this ends up at 4. I mean, the Dolphins' defense is so much better on the road than it is. So much better at home than it is on the road. But their defense looked absolutely atrocious against the Bears, and the Browns can do all those things, but they don't need their quarterback to do it. They have Chubb running the ball. Let's go now. On Tuesday, when I moved on this, the Sharps were all over the Browns. They still are. Beautiful. 47% of the tickets, 78% of the cash. The Dolphins, that was a long, tedious game where their defense looked terrible. They allowed the Bears offense to go 10 of 16 on third down. I think the Browns can keep this close. I do. What do you think here, Jose?
I don't know, man. This slate, hey, funny enough, who would have thought that as the season and year goes on, the slate gets harder and harder. I like Miami, and I want to back Miami truthfully because I'm not going to get behind Jacoby Brissett anymore. There was a time where maybe I was feeling good about him, but you said they're coming off a bye week, and typically backup quarterbacks fare better with more time to prepare. So, and the Dolphins' offense or defense does not, it's not great. You're going to see a lot of chunt going on in Miami. So, I guess I'd lean towards the Browns, but this is just a game I'm passing on. 49, by the way, another high number. Pass game for me.
By the way, Billy Friedrich says this game is a straight over. With that total right now, 75% of the tickets, is that right? 75 and 92% of the cash is on the over, and it hasn't moved. It's moved 6 cents, and it hadn't always as of this morning at 6 a.m. it had moved 2 cents. So that would scare me. This Browns offense, though, 4th in the NFL in EPA, 7th in touchdowns per game. They outgained the Bengals 440 to 229. Leo said it's on the over. Jacoby Brissett passing yards. It said auto lock for anyone. And then
Brown secondary is horrific too, by the way. And Waddle and Hill might just dominate him again. So those are the two things I just can't get my head around. Jacoby Brissett and the Browns defensive secondary, but obviously Myles Garrett's going to be.
Nobody thought their secondary would be this bad, and then they shut down the Bengals. So
Bengals with no Jamar Chase, right? First game.
No, that's totally fair. All that's totally legit. But did anyone think they'd be this bad? I mean, it's a shock at what their secondary's done, and it's not impossible for them to improve.
Well, ending the poll here, and this might make our card given the percentages. 57%. 57% on the Cleveland Browns. So maybe on a normal week that might not make it, but Cleveland Browns.
We got some late action there on the Browns. All right, let's move on to Texans Giants. Now, I was going to bet the Giants after the Tuesday show, but the market was moving. I was like, why don't I just wait? Andy got in on the Giants minus 6.5. Well, it just keeps shrinking and shrinking and shrinking. We now have 4.5s right across the board. Excuse me, 4.5 right across the board.
What's happened?
4.5 here. I mean, it's a surprise, I guess. I mean, we talked about the Xavier McKinney hand injury while riding an ATV in Cabo. It blows my mind that you'd be worth this amount of money in the middle of a football season and you just hop in an ATV and go riding with the buddies on a vacation drunk. But
how do you fuck up your hand?
Well, you probably you either fell out. I mean, who knows? Boozing and riding an ATV, a lot of shit can go down. This is wild, this move towards the Texans. Let's see if it's accompanied with all sharp action. It's 48% of tickets on Texans, 63% of the cash. Texans coming off extra rest and prep. Lovey's done a nice job. I know they're 1-6-1, and I'll say a lot of negative things about Lovey, but he's done a nice job, and they played well against the Eagles. And Brandon Cooks set out after missing practice all week. Is he going to play this week? I'd love to know that. Dameon Pierce was a monster. 27 carries, 139 yards. Shout out to Mr. Gokes who gave 3 different Dameon Pierce props on our show last Thursday. They held the Eagles to 360 yards. I mean, it's pretty good. And then you have the Giants coming in fresh off their bye week, and we know what Dable, Kafka, and Wink are capable of. They lose Nick Williams to a biceps injury. They lose Xavier McKinney to a hand injury. Dexter Lawrence better be a monster stopping the run. This is wild. What do you think of this spread at 4.5?
I loved it at 6. I have questions about it at 4.5. I've been on the Texans a lot this year, shockingly enough. Me and LJ apparently riding arm in arm for this Houston train. I don't know what it is, man, but they just cover sometimes. They just get through. They just find a way to get through Davis Mills, and his long-ass neck does his thing. But my angle for betting the Texans here is that Mr. Dable has not gone through a bye week before as the head coach. And maybe one indication of that is one of your star, I don't know what you're going to call them, good players comes out, hurts his hand on vacation. I think these guys might have been reading the press clippings a little bit, sucking their own dick, and I think they might get a little slap in the face here from the reality, a.k.a. the Texans. I think they're a little fat and happy after that start. So I like the Texans here laying the points or taking the points, whatever it is. Davis Mills, just keep your shit together and don't turn over the ball that much and keep defending it. Keep giving it to Dameon Pierce, please.
Nothing for me here. I find it fascinating. This is part of the reason why capping is so much fun. It's been so much fun watching the Sharps hammer the Texans down to 4.5 when the Giants are coming off a bye week, and all that whenever we talk about the Giants, we talk about how spectacular their coaching is, and now they're coming off a bye. It's fascinating and going to be so much fun to watch. And I am not betting the New York Giants, but I'm not on Texans. So,
yeah, no, I'll say this as I end the poll, and we'll get seemingly another 50-50 in here. Yep, 50-50 split. I'll say this. Sunday morning, when I saw the Jets line drop to, I think it was like 10.5, something like that, I thought I could bet the Jets, but instead I just straight took the money line. And, that worked out for me then. And that's seemingly what's happening here with the Texans. So I'm probably just going to roll with the Texans here. And Dennis Garcia also echoed that statement here. So line drops. It's Houston money line or nothing. It's kind of what made me think about it.
No, but he's questioning it because Birdie says sharps are pounding Houston. I've not gotten involved here. At this point, Houston money line or nothing. And Dennis Garcia says, so the line drops, Houston money line or nothing. So
it's a tough game. Hey, I think this so far is probably the toughest week of the year so far, spread wise.
Oh, I need a week too. Okay, let's move on. New Orleans Saints, Pittsburgh Steelers, Acrisure Stadium, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. You want a hard one? I find this so difficult. But we have had movement. I guess we haven't at Pinnacle, just on the offshores. But look at this. It's at 1.5 at Circa. So that's telling you something. It's still at 2.5 at Pinnacle. So that means that money's coming in on the Steelers fresh off their bye week. I don't know how anybody wants to trust Kenny Pickett with their cash right now. But TJ Watt coming back, and that's a big, big deal. I get it. It's a big deal. And then everybody has a bias after watching how badly the Saints looked in that 27-13 loss at home to the Ravens. So why don't we take a look at where the dollars and cents are, and maybe that will help illuminate things for us. We have 8,801 tickets in, 64% of the tickets, 66% of cash on the Steelers, hence moved to 1.5 at Circa. That all makes sense. But, Pete Werner leaving, Marcus Davenport leaving. I guess I don't want to bet against the Saints after watching how bad they were, just because I know I'm emotionally attached to the outcome. But I don't know how you could back them after watching Warner and Davenport out. Let me see if Davenport's coming back.
Well, I'll say this. I like the Steelers this week. I like the home dog aspect. I didn't know that TJ Watt was back. I think every Steelers fan favorite stat is that they're undefeated with TJ Watt. I believe that's what the stat is, like 8-0, 9-0 with TJ Watt in the lineup. Something crazy like that. I don't know. I like the Steelers. This is a shot to Clint. This is a Clint special of a defensive special teams touchdown. I wish that I could bet turnovers individually. I'd bet the over turnovers for the Saints. First of all, are we getting Dalton again? That's the real question.
It looks like it. It looks like we're getting Dalton again. By the way, so Ingram, Lattimore, Eric McCoy, Andres Pete, and Pete Werner are not practicing. Davenport, Jarvis Landry, and Ryan Ramczyk are practicing in a limited capacity.
Birdie says Saints minus 1.5 here. Dalton has an abundance of experience facing this Pittsburgh defense, i.e. his Bengals day. They were much better when he played them, like the Saints here. And he's saying Dalton is in.
Yeah, Dalton's in.
Yeah, I mean, fuck, I guess broken back Jameis just not good enough, huh? So I like the Steelers here still. Home crowd, off a bye, Mike Tomlin, better coach than whoever the fuck is coaching the Saints nowadays. Obviously, Kenny Pickett is a concern, but, head-to-head, Kenny Pickett versus Andy Dalton, I kind of like Kenny Pickett's upside, I'll be honest.
I'm with Dennis. I thought this was the hardest game on the board. I thought this was extremely difficult.
And Billy Friedrich, by the way, mentioning 11-7 ATS are the Saints as road fave since 2019, 14-4 straight up. So definitely that is an interesting one. And we'll have to remember, obviously, no Drew Brees. So 50-50 again. 50-50 again. See, these are just brutalizing us right now.
I like it. I like everything that's happening with our breakdowns. I like it.
Well,
all right.
I'll say this, just a quick primer. We have Tennessee 63%, Cleveland 57%, and then a whole mishmash of 52%ers. And there are 4 games left. So let's see if we can find some games on our card here, because we might end up on some games that we were not fond of at the very beginning of the show.
I find it fascinating. I love all of this. Okay, let's move on to the next spot on the board. And it is Indianapolis Colts at LA Raiders. This moved a point today when Waller was put on IR. So he's going to be out for the next 4 weeks, and it moved a point.
It wasn't for Hunter Renfrow. Shucks, what a shame.
It's 6.5 here.
Yeah, it's 6.5. I bet the 6.5 and 3.5. I was right there with you when we were talking about the Jeff Saturday nonsense. Fuck all this, man. I heard a podcast says if he gets all his dudes on the plane, on the bus to Las Vegas and ready to start the game, that's a miracle. I don't trust the coaching at all. Obviously, the main factor and the thing that scares me the most is that everyone has been shit talking the Colts, Jim Irsay, and in turn that roster, all those players this whole week. And there's that nobody believes in us factor. The Jeff Saturday obviously is a good leader if he's going to get this shit. So that nobody believes us in a factor scares me. And the Raiders are horrible. But come on, there's no coaching. No coaching. And Sam Ehlinger's horrible. I've been saying that since he's first touched the football. He's horrible, not an NFL quarterback.
This has moved to 4.5 at BetChris and Bookmaker. Wow.
Well, then, fuck. Do we have to take the Colts? I mean, 2.5, 2 points better. At what point? I understand Ehlinger and it sucks ass and all that stuff, but the value in 2 points is interesting.
This sucks, man. I could have waited and got a 3 on the first half.
I wish it was literally any other team than Las Vegas playing the Colts, because I think the Colts are horrible. I think Sam Ehlinger is the worst quarterback we're seeing every Sunday. He's horrific, but somehow they're gonna find a way to score out points, I guess. And the tough part is the Raiders just been so bad. So I guess I'm taking the Colts here for the 6.5 and being happy with that 2-point swing, but
wow,
man,
I hate this. I hate that I could have got a 3 if I had just waited. I just didn't see this coming. Parks Frazier is going to be calling the plays. He's been with the Colts for 5 years. He's 30 years old, and he's going to be the assigned to play calling. Northeast Mississippi and Murray State quarterback.
I think we're going to see like a Lamar Jackson-esque playbook from the Colts. Run that fucking rock and just run the ball with Sam Ehlinger too. Like, I don't know. Well, first of all, Jimmy, you'll know this. Jonathan Taylor, how are we looking with Jonathan Taylor right now? Because if JT's in, then I could be convinced to take the Colts, because I could see it being a Derrick Henry, Malik Willis type game plan.
The latest update as of that he returned to practice, but multiple starters missed practice. So Mo Alley Cox, Jelani Woods missed practice. So many guys missed practice. I mean, it's just crazy.
Yeah, I guess give me the Colts, but
Ngakwe, Rodney McLeod, Deion Jackson, Stephon Gilmore, and Tony Brown all missed practice.
Truthfully, I hope the Colts win this game just so I can have a better line betting against them next week.
The Ngakwe, McLeod, and Gilmore, it's just a veteran rest day.
Yeah, so Colts for me at the end of the day. Yeah, I came in here shit talking the Colts and Jeff Saturday, and now seemingly, and after 3 minutes are up, by the way.
But there's no. He's looked to be moving a lot better this week, but ending up being a game time decision is Jonathan Taylor.
Well, speaking of Jonathan Taylor, it's probable that we're backing him here after 3 minutes. 57% on the vote on Indianapolis. And that's probably going to be enough to make our card.
I'm so nervous about my Raiders action now. I just fucking hate it.
Yeah, just give me a Colts. And I bet the Raiders too, so I'm right there with you. But give me the rally around the flag kind of thing with the Colts right now if we're going to win this. Give me the I believe in our head coach. Nobody believes in us. That's probably how it's going to go if Colts end up winning this game. But it's going to be a fun game to watch, to say the least.
Cowboys at Packers. Next up, Lambeau Field in Green Bay, Wisconsin. Let's take a look at the number we have here for us. 4.5. It's wild. This has moved to 4.5. Let's see what it is at Pinnacle. Pinnacle opened this up at 4. They still have it at 5, but that 5 is juiced. Wow, I didn't realize they opened it at 4. Interesting. Okay, they opened it at 4 at a pick'em. And then cash flow wise, the sharps are on the Packers. 33% of the tickets, 55% of the cash. I've read a lot of sharp angles on the Packers. Andy Maltor is on the Cowboys -5, and I almost tailed it. I almost bet it Tuesday night, but I didn't. Cowboys come in fresh off their bye week. I just think this team is a juggernaut. And Prescott coming off a 21 for 27 day, 250 yards, 2 touchdowns, and a pick. He looked good after missing 5 games with a fractured right thumb. This team came into that game 30th in third down conversions, and they converted their first 6. They ended up 9 of 11 on third down. They put up 442 yards. I think that this team is really strong, but I guess at what point do the Packers start having value? They're coming back home, and they lose Rashawn Gary. I mean, their leader to a torn ACL, gone for the year, and the sharps are all over the Packers. It's Birdie says Green Bay spread and money line. I mean, I can't do it. Can you do it?
Yeah, I can. I'm going to take the Cowboys. The Packers are fucking done. No, I can't. Well, I'm not 100% sure if I'm going to take the Cowboys. At least if I sidewise leaning here, $400 bet, like you say, Cowboys. First of all, I love revenge angles. I love that shit. And Mike McCarthy going back to Green Bay, I fucking love that shit. I hope he rolls in there with a fucking wheel of cheese, just chomping down on that shit. This is the kind of game where he'd do his like smash a watermelon type bullshit. I think the Cowboys get up for this game, and I just think they beat down the Packers, honestly. The Zeke Tony Pollard debate is interesting, and if I was the Packer or if I was the Cowboys, I'd leave Zeke at home and let Tony Pollard cook this week, because I would not want to bring back my multi-million-dollar running back back in a cold weather situation. Like New Worker's saying, going to be a chilly day in Green Bay. It's the concerning part, obviously, as well, is Dak Prescott has not been good this year. It has not had a big sample size, but just not looked good in any aspect. And maybe the Packers are just like the Starks from in Game of Thrones and Winterfell. They just need the cold to bring them back. But I like the Cowboys here. I think they roll, and this Packers team is just DOA.
There's no chance that I'm going to go up against all this sharp money on the Packers, but I'm not going to bet on them. But even seeing Birdie and Dennis Garcia on Packers money line, this is wild. I mean, it's part of the reason why we love doing this. So I'd be very interested in this.
Yeah. By the way, I would probably guess I can end the poll right now. This is probably the biggest underdog line that Aaron Rodgers has faced in his career. Wouldn't be surprised about that at all.
No, he was 10.5-point dogs against the Bills like 3 weeks ago.
Oh, right. Oh, God, I forgot about that. I deleted that game from my memory. That was hilarious. Well, it must be the biggest at Lambeau, at least, then. 53% for the Green Bay Packers. 53%, which, again, on a normal week might not make our card. 53%. Fourth place right now. Wait,
wow.
No, yeah, fourth place. Fourth place right now.
Unbelievable. All right, let's move on to Cardinals-Rams. SoFi. I got in on this under at 43.5 before we heard that Stafford was in concussion protocol.
That's chef's kiss right there.
Concussion protocol, and he's not gonna have time because he didn't go into protocol till what, Tuesday?
Yeah, how weird is that, by the way? How fucking weird is that? And Kyler Murray, a little hammy?
It had to be later than Tuesday. It had to be Wednesday because we didn't know about it Tuesday night. That's why no one knew about it Tuesday night. That's why I got the 43.5. This is wild. This is just a wild changes here now that we have these star quarterbacks dealing with issues. This opened up at -4 for the Rams. Now sitting at 1.5. So it was announced Wednesday morning because that's when it moved from 3 to 1.5. Let's see where the cash lies here in this one. And then can you get the last I'll get over to you in a minute. The last update on Kyler Murray. Could you give us that one here? 6,506 tickets in. Still 49% of the tickets, 60% of cash on these Rams. I wonder if this is similar to what happened with the Bills. Maybe the idea is that with Wolford, there's still there's might be he might. I mean, I know no one's thinking that Case is as good as Josh Allen, but they're still a good team. Maybe Stafford's been terrible. Maybe Wolford. We've seen Wolford come in and do some impressive stuff. So Cardinals coming off their fourth loss in 5 games. Murray, I had no idea this hamstring thing was going to fire at us. DeAndre Hopkins coming off a bad day. James Conner looked much, much better. They allowed Seattle to go 10-15 on third down. Still waiting on Rodney Hudson and Max Garcia to come back. That would help them so much. Dennis Gardeck still inactive. And now you have a Rams team that could do nothing offensively with Matt Stafford and now going to Wolford. There's Paco Healy in the house. What up, Paco, my guy? This one's tricky. Why don't you take it away for us here, Jose? Rams at home to the Cardinals.
So I'm looking up the beat writer, and it said as of an hour ago, Kyler Murray returned to practice. So we'll see, but it's still a hamstring, and he and his toddler little legs. By the way, so for you guys out there, if you have kids, Kyler Murray looks like a toddler running away after he stole your phone. So I hope you can't unsee that now. But yeah, I can't do this game. This game is just tough. I'm not going to bet on a hobbled Kyler Murray, and I don't like Kyler Murray to begin with a terrible coach. Who the hell is the Rams' backup quarterback?
Wolford, and we've seen him look good, move the offense. He's been there for a while.
Colt McCoy versus Logan Woodshed. I'm all set. I'm good here. Jimmy, congratulations on your under victory. I can't do it here. Sean McVay, he'll probably scheme a way to find a win here, but there's going to be a shitload of Arizona Cardinals fans, if there are any, at this game. No one wants to go watch the Rams right now. Both these teams stink, so I'm ultimately out this game.
Dropped another half point, the total of 40.5. My totals, I went 4-0 last week with totals. I'm destroying the market move and even getting in as late as Tuesday, but my sides could come in and stab me in the larynx. I'm really nervous about this week. Ugh.
It's going to be a stressful week for everyone. I can tell you that. I'm going to be stressing my picks. The 3 minutes have concluded, and boy, oh boy, was I right about us loving the bum fights. 59% on the Los Angeles Rams.
Wow, that's fascinating. That might work.
I mean, yeah, it might work. Yeah, you said Logan Warford, Steve Warford was capable of moving the offense, and I remember it too. It was those days where you get a spell from Jared Goff, and you get a new quarterback in there, and you're like, wow, this guy can actually move the offense pretty good, and realize how bad Jared Goff was. But yeah, no, Rams are nothing, I guess.
It doesn't bother me that the decision was made like that. I think this is cashable. Let's move on to the Sunday Nighter, and we'll be live right here on Pub Sports Radio. I can't wait to beat it up. Los Angeles Chargers at the San Francisco 49ers, Levi Stadium in Santa Clara, California. Now, I moved on the Niners first quarter and first half, and I'm nervous. I got the Niners first quarter -2.5, first half -3.5. The first half now is -4. It's been profitable trusting Shanahan, and now we have the bye week. But I fear that the Chargers are better than what we've seen so far. And the question is Keenan Allen going to be back? We keep waiting for Keenan Allen to come back, but one thing that we know about Herbert is he's a gamer. The guy's a gamer, and so much of my weekend relies on this spot here. But McCaffrey off of a bye, get more comfortable with the system. Let's take a look at the line history here in this one, and then the cash, and hand it over to Jose. But so much, and I kind of hate having to do this live when so much of my my life is on the line here. When I talk about the stakes being high, the stakes are high. I need to succeed. I cannot fall apart here. And I just sent him my baseball futures, and it fucking sucks, man. Niners opened up -6.5, -108. They're now -6.5, -120. And then we have 42% of the tickets, 43% of the cash on the Niners. That makes me nervous. I don't care if they don't cover the whole game, but I need them to cover early. And $400 on them to do that for 200 first quarter, 200 first half is just fucking palm sweating again. They'd stop sweating there for a while. Ugh.
Mine was sweating more, a lot more recently. Helga's not liked it. I like the 49ers. Jimmy, I am firmly on the Bang Bang Niner Gang bandwagon. Christian McCaffrey means a lot to me in my life, fantasy football. But no one cares about your fantasy football team. I also made a trade for Deebo Samuels as well. So I am very invested in the 49ers. I know Deebo is off his little injury thing on fantasy was taken off. So he seems like he's going to go, and it seemed like that bye week rested him up. And thankfully, we'll see this 49ers offense at full cylinder for the first time. Well, at least with
Usage will be back as well.
Yeah, you need his big ass.
Eric Armstead, Drake Greenlaw are going to be back on defense, and possibly even Jason Verrett.
I'm a huge Niner guy, so I like the Niners here. I might take the 7 just to illustrate my Ninerdom and be officially welcome into the community. The issue is it's always scary betting against the better quarterback in a matchup. Same thing like when you're betting against the better starting pitcher in baseball, same thing. And I've had to, I've been taking a little bit of time to get to your path on this, Jimmy. Staley kind of has marble for brains. Kind of doesn't know what he's doing half the time. And I wouldn't be surprised at all if we saw a change there to someone more capable. So I do agree with Paco. 7 feels a little high, but I might end up taking it still. I'm a Niner gang guy, so give me the Niners.
I'm not going to vote on this one. This game makes me. I'm gonna better get a bottle of Kraken for this one, man.
It's gonna be a stressful day, but we won't have to worry about it for cappers. 50-50. Tough game.
Birdie says Niners first quarter will be tied to a bunch of things this weekend. Oh, please.
I will probably end up betting Niners first quarter, first half in solidarity with you.
Thank you. All right, let's move into the final game on the card. And this is a game I want to get involved with. I have fallen for the Washington Commanders.
This is where I can't agree with you here.
I haven't bet it yet, but I have fallen for the Washington Commanders and their defense. I got in early on them last week. I knew I didn't have to worry about that this week, and I could think it over and have another opportunity like this to talk it out. I got in the +3.5 and cashed it easily. They should have went outright. But Heineke didn't look good. It was the first game really not looking good. And he was very lucky to get that Curtis Samuel touchdown pass. That was, shouldn't have happened. But Birdie was on the Dalvin Cook rush yards under. And they completely shut down Dalvin Cook. He was 47 yards. They completely shut down this really strong Minnesota offense. So the Eagles coming off extra rest. They're 8-0 for the first time in franchise history. They're playing so well. But should they be 11-point favorites here? It just feels a little much. Now, I have the option of on our live stream, getting in on it live. You get tons of great options when you're dealing with a big dog. And when we go over to the cash flow, the sharps are on the Eagles. So 33% of the tickets, 58% of the cash. So the public is seeing what I'm seeing. The public's probably also got the Texans game in their head. And if the sharps are going to be on the Eagles, I'm not going to bet the Commanders. I'm not going to go up against them. So Maybe this ends up a no move for me. But Birdie, man, Birdie pulls his big balls out. Birdie's not afraid. So I don't know. This one is really, really difficult. What do you think here? You already said you think Eagles smash and grab?
No, I mean the 11 is aggressive. I agree with you. I love the big spreads. I typically take all the big spreads, so I can find myself on Washington, sure, but I'm not in love with this Commanders team. I think Taylor Heineke is he's a backup quarterback, and that's what he'll continue to be. They finally kind of figured out what to do with Brian Robinson and Antonio Gibson. They finally have a little good mix there. And Scary Terry and Curtis Samuel are capable as well. So face of it, the Commanders offense could be good enough here, but I just have a lot of pause going against my Philadelphia Eagles. I'm right up there, been saying all year the Eagles are going to make the Super Bowl and lose to whoever comes out of the AFC, but it's tough for me to back the Commanders here. So left hand up, maybe I take him here. So a shot to Chris Rock, by the way. Chase Young might be active as well, apparently. So would be a big benefit there for the Commanders. So what I'm saying is it's definitely Commanders pass for me or pass for me. But I will not definitely be betting the Commanders every week. And if it wasn't such a big spread, obviously I wouldn't be on.
Maybe I should just move on the 11 if we think if Chase Young's going to be announced. And
will Chase Young drop the line a lot though? Be 10.5 maybe.
Oh, let me just because you can be active and pulled off the inactive and still not play. He's designated to return, but designated to return does not mean he was designated to return. When he had to be like a week. There's a 21-day window, but so he no one's saying that Chase Young's playing on Sunday, but God, I'd love it if he was.
This pretty much feels like the same kind of NFC version of Bills Jets from last week. Big bad Eagles. Obviously, the quarterback not as hurt or whatever.
No, you're absolutely right, but the difference in that one was the Jets were at home.
Yep, 100%.
But you're right; it does have that feeling.
100%. Yeah, that would make me feel a little better there. I pass on this, but it's probably a Commanders or pass.
Maybe I move on. And
it's a good point about saying they were at home. The Jets were at home. Eagles at home. Do I really want to bet on the Washington Commanders going into Lincoln Financial, where obviously they lose the World Series, so they might be a little salivating for some success. And here comes their Eagles to provide it.
God, are the Raiders going to get me right in the drink hole? I mean,
again,
I don't know if I can handle losing on them 3 weeks in a row.
I'm prepared. I already bet them like Tuesday. I was right there with you guys with the whole Jeff Saturday bullshit. And it seems like it's going to be an interesting week for all of us. So end the poll now. 3 minutes are up. And left hand up, it might be the Commanders. 56% on the Washington Commanders.
2 weeks ago, I added 2 bets on the card. I had a monster week, and I lost both of the bets that I added. I added the Raiders, and I added the Buccaneers. And I lost both those bets. I think that was a Thursday night with the Ravens. And then this past week, I added nothing. I was like, let's just stick with this. But I did add, during our show, I did add the under. I talked it out with you guys. I added the under in the Chiefs game. So I shouldn't say I added, but before Sunday, I added nothing, but whatever. I think that the only thing I want to add here after the show is I want in. I want in on the Commanders. After Heineke played so bad, and they still shut down a running attack, and now they're going against one of the toughest running attacks. I mean, other than the Bears, the second probably toughest in the league. Huh. Wow, this was really, really interesting. I find this such a helpful show. I love hearing what everybody's on. I love hearing what the consensus is. We have so many great cappers in the chat. I enjoyed it enormously. All right, let's hear what decisions have been made. Again, our record 24, 19, and 2. The leader of the contest is at 33.5. You get a half point for the pushes. So we are sitting at 25, and that's pretty good. And if we can heat up, who knows? Who knows? And then Birdie says this line will go up. Public not betting Washington. Okay, I mean, you think, what if Chase Young's announced in? Okay, let's start with 7-6. Can we do that?
Yes, well, sort of. 7, a tie, 3-way tie for 52%.
Okay, what's 6th?
So 6 is the Green Bay Packers, 4.5 at 53%. So we had a pretty clear defined top 5 this week. Not really that close. The 5th place team, Jimmy, do you know what I'm referring to when I keep saying left hand up? The Commanders? No? You haven't? Well, I'll send you the Commanders song that the kids are singing nowadays. They had a lovely group of Commanders fans put a song together. So just remember, left hand up, it's the Commanders. That is our 5th place team, 56%. The Indianapolis Colts.
56%, and the spread is plus 11?
Yeah.
Okay. And then
Colts 4th, 6.5, 57%.
Okay.
Cleveland plus 3.5 at 57% as well. The Los Angeles Rams with probably Logan Woodside or whoever's the quarterback.
Wolford.
Logan Warford minus 1.5, 59%. And then probably the most surprising one of all, the leader, the Tennessee Titans, 63%, minus 2.5. Well,
it doesn't help necessarily when I like our card, and obviously the Titans and the Colts. But I really like the Commanders and the Browns, and I think the Rams might be really sneaky.
Yeah, I'm glad, by the way, that immediately off the top of the show we recognize, okay, all these top 4 games, these are fucking tough. Let's dive into the filth. Let's dive into the bum fights. Let's lose a tooth. Why don't we get an extension ripped out? And let's get into the bum fights and make money there.
I like it. I think this is a very interesting card, and it'll just provide a lot of fodder for me for the next few days. Also, remember, with the Cappers contest, that at 10:02 or 10, as soon as 10's up, all the picks are going to be able to be seen by everybody, and that was the plan all along.
Saturday
night, as soon as that 10 p.m. is off. And if anybody has anything that they need, just email pubsportsradio@gmail.com, and that will go right to Sean, who's the only person who can get in there and do anything about things. So,
yeah, and I don't know who I'm going with. This is going to be a fucking tough week, a very, very tough week for picks. So good luck, everyone. Yes. And I hope all of you lose, and I hope I win this contest. So, because I would love to have bragging rights.
Well, you'd also have multiple thousands of dollars.
I've never had multiple thousands of dollars before. I don't know what I would do with myself. Could I just buy a yacht? Is that what you do with multiple thousands?
I believe it's pronounced yacht, and I don't know. I've never bought
just
a yacht.
Like Yahoo.
I imagine that it's a little more expensive, but maybe a canoe. Yes,
I'd love a canoe. I go Austin right up there, go down the river. It's a great time.
Drug Monkey RX says he's coming for you. And he says, you hear that knocking?
I hear it. It's the knocking of all my demons inside of me, but I push them down every single day. Drug Monkey RX, I'm pushing you down.
You starting out this weekend, you starting out this contest successful.
Is the most surprising thing.
I'm not surprised.
It's the most surprising thing ever.
No, but whether you can handle the pressure in the second half of the season, that will be the true test.
Well, Jimmy, I am notably a mental midget. I was a horrible athlete because I would always fold under the pressure. And in beer pong, I could never make the last cup. So I'm sure it'll go out well for me.
Well, I'm excited. So Commanders plus 11, Colts plus 6.5, Browns plus 3.5, Rams minus 1.5, Titans minus 2.5. I'm very nervous about my personal action. And I think I'm just gonna be watching this Commanders, and I want to bet at one point. There's DX Filer in the house. What up, DX? Thank you guys all so much for supporting the show. Paco Healy, 1777 memorabilia, Drug Monkey RX, Gerald Jones, Brooklyn Funk Project, my man Pete, Chris Rock, Birdie. Great to hang out with you guys. Nunya, Dennis Garcia. Thank you guys. Thank you all. Coin, Gerald Jones, Nuke Worker. Thank you guys for your support. We're 24-19-2. It's pretty good. It's pretty good. Now let's become great. Let's be great together. Let's be great together.
Let's be
Go
great.
out there. Get that cash. Let's have a giant week 10. I believe in us. I believe.